Hello and welcome. When we think of Rome, we think of a vast empire, legions and emperors. But how did this giant begin? Our journey starts on the banks of the river Tiber in central Italy, with a story that blends legend and history. The Romans themselves looked to the famous myth of the twins Romulus and Remus. Abandoned as infants, they were said to be suckled by a she-wolf, a symbol that became synonymous with Rome itself. According to tradition, Romulus founded the city on the Palatine Hill on April 21st, 753 BC, after fatally quarreling with his brother. This date marked the beginning of the Roman kingdom. But what does history tell us? Archaeological evidence suggests Rome's birth wasn't a single event, but a gradual process. It started as a collection of small hilltop villages on the 7 hills like the Palatine and Capitoline that slowly aggregated, a process known as cynicism. The location was perfect, near a crossing point on the Tiber and close to the sea, making it ideal for trade. Crucially, the early development of Rome was heavily influenced by the Etruscans, a more sophisticated civilization to the north. Around the 7th century BC, the Etruscans may have either invaded or simply brought the scattered villages under their cultural and political sway. It was under the Etruscan kings that the swampy area at the foot of the hills was drained, becoming the Roman Forum, the civic, commercial, and social heart of the future city. This was the true urban beginning. The regal period, led by kings, some Etruscan, lasted until around 509 BC. The Roman tradition holds that the last king, Tarquin the Proud, was a tyrant, and his overthrow ushered in the next critical phase, the Roman Republic. The Republic replaced the single ruler with elected magistrates, chiefly the 2 consuls, and a powerful advisory body, the Senate. This innovative system, with its checks and balances, allowed Rome to mobilize its citizens and resources like never before. Instead of a single royal ruler, power was vested in the Roman people, though primarily the wealthy elite, represented by the famous letters SPQR, Senatus Populusque Romanus, the Senate and people of Rome. Under the Republic, Rome began its journey of expansion, first dominating the other Latin towns and then the entire Italian peninsula by the 3rd century BC. This expansion was driven by a combination of military strength, diplomacy, and the extension of Roman citizenship. By controlling Italy, Rome was able to project its power across the sea, leading to the pivotal Punic Wars against the great maritime power of Carthage. Victory in these wars gave Rome control of the Western Mediterranean and cemented its status as a dominant power. Rome was no longer just a city-state, it was the master of a rapidly growing empire. As the Republic matured, Roman power stretched far beyond Italy. For many centuries, Rome was inwardly focused on the Mediterranean basin. However, as scholars like Raoul McLaughlin have extensively shown, the connections that would define the later empire were already being forged. Rome was a consumer of the luxury goods and exotic spices that traveled from the distant east via the Indian Ocean trade routes and the legendary Silk Roads. These early ties hinted at the vast multi-continental reach the empire would eventually achieve. By its zenith, Rome had established points of contact that, as documented by McLaughlin, Kim, and Liu, even extended to the fringes of China. From a handful of huts on 7 hills to a republic controlling the Mediterranean, and one day an empire connecting east and west, the beginnings of Rome were a powerful blend of legend, local politics, and strategic geography. Thanks for watching.